यन्माया वशवर्ति विश्वमखिलं ब्रह्मादिदेवासुरा यत्सत्त्वादमृषैव भाति सकलं रज्जौ यथा हेर्भ्रमः यत्पादप्लवमेकमेव हि भवाम्बोधे स्थितिर्षावताम् वन्देऽहं तमशेषकारणपरं रामाख्यमीशं हरिम्। श्रीराम जय जय राम ॐ 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 जय राम ॐ जय राम ॐ। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Hari Om. We had seen the prasanga of Parshuram ji and Bhagwan Rama and Lakshman ji. In the beginning only we had seen Bhagwan Rama is also an avatara and Parshuram ji is also an avatara. Both of them are doing leelas. Bhagwan Rama is doing the leela of what one should do, and Parshuram ji is doing the leela of what one should not do. And he takes one quality as an example. You cannot say it as a quality, one weakness if you want to say, and that is of anger. So Parshuram ji is getting so angry and having lot of abhimana, lot of pride about what all things he has accomplished in the past. And Bhagwan Rama is reminding him constantly that anger is not something which is worth having. In particular, if that person has a higher goal in life, if he has Nitya Vastu as the goal, he has done Viveka and he has come to this conclusion that I want Nitya Vastu, Shuddha Chaitanya Brahma, that is my goal, then he says you cannot have anger also and then hope to abide in that Atma which is Shanta Swarupa. And also Bhagwan is pointing out that the only thing we need for Abhimana, Puja Gurudev sometimes would say, is foolishness. Forgetting the Lord is when Jiva becomes arrogant. Forgetting Bhagwan is when Jiva becomes proud about his accomplishments. Whatever thing we are proud about, that was given to us actually by Bhagwan only. Starting from this physical body and the abilities of this physical body, or little bit subtler is the mind. None of it we have created. It was given to us, and maybe we might have increased the abilities to some extent. So here Bhagwan is also pointing out that Abhimana and devotion cannot go together. Later in Navadha Bhakti Prasanga, Bhagwan points this particular aspect. He says, Shabariji, you are the best devotee who has all these qualities, and the only thing I want from my devotee is removal of that Abhimana. So that message Bhagwan Rama has very nicely given to Parshuramji. And then finally, after doing that entire thing, that bow which was there in Parshuramji's hand, it just goes and comes in Bhagwan's hand, even before Bhagwan could go near it. It was the bow of Lord Vishnu. It recognized its master. Now, what happens when this Abhimana goes away? This Abhimana about our own abilities. Once that is gone, first thing what happens is that mind is very cheerful. And it recognizes the greatness of Bhagwan. If there is any ability, any power that is seen, this devotee says, Bhagwan, it belongs to you only, not to me. A natural expression of that bhava, natural expression of that feeling in the heart comes out as stuti. Whatever stutis great devotees have composed, it is from this expression, it is from this emotion in their heart. What is that emotion? That when Abhimana is removed, that knowledge dawns that the real master here is Bhagwan only. So with that bhava, Parshuramji is doing stuti of Bhagwan Ramana. Okay, so this is after 284th Doha. Jaya Raghubam Sabana Jabana Bhanu Gahana Danuja Kula Dahana Krusanu Jaya Sura Vipradhenu Hitakari Jaya Madamoha Koha Brahmahari Vinaya Sila Karuna Guna Sagar Jayati Bachana Rachanati Nagar Sevaka Sukhada Subhaga Sab Anga जय शरीर छवि कोटि अनंगा करौ काह मुख एक प्रशंसा जय महेश मन मानस हमसा अनुचित बहुत कहे अज्ञाता क्षमहु क्षमा मंदिर दो भ्राता कहि जय 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 रघुकुल केतु भृगुपति गए बनहि तप हेतु अपभय कुटिल मही पडेराने जहाँ तह कायर गवहि पराने देवन दीन्ही दुंदुभे प्रभु पर बरसहि फूल हर्षे पुर नर नारी सब मिटी मोहमय सूल सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. Same Parshuram ji who got so angry at Bhagwan Rama and Lakshman ji, now look at his words. Very drastic change in the way that he is looking at Bhagwan right now. Says, Bhagwan, you are like that sun for this Raghukula, which is in the form of a lotus. Means all sadgunas which are there, if a jiva turns towards Bhagwan, then Bhagwan makes sure that these gunas increase. And Bhagwan is like fire for burning the forest of all asuras, means all asuric vrittis which might be there in a sadhaka. Gahana Danuja Kula Dahana Krusanu. So that is Bhagwan's nature. And to those who have Sattva Guna, Bhagwan makes sure that he enhances it, increases it more and more. He protects those sadhakas. And then if there is Rajoguna and Tamoguna, that Bhagwan removes and brings them on the right path. So you see, Sura means Devata, Vipra is Brahmana, Dhenu means cow. So Bhagwan does Hitam. Bhagwan does good of all these people, meaning he increases Sattva Guna in a sadhaka. And Jaya Mada Moha, Koha, means if there is Mada, pride, moha is there, delusion is there, and anger is there. All these are results of rajoguna, and brahma is there. Brahma is combination of rajoguna and tamoguna, taking one thing to be another. Like that rope and snake, Brahma is there. So that Bhagwan removes. Jaya Mada Moha Koha Brahmahari. And Bhagwan is abode of all divine qualities. Binaya Sila Karuna Guna Sagara. And he is very, very skilled, very expert in speaking. Parshuramji has realized that aspect in Bhagwan. All indicators is giving how he is looking at Bhagwan right now. Jayati Bachana Rachana Ati Nagar. One meaning of this is he is very measured and diplomatic in his speech. Nagara means that. And generally, when people move to the city, it is said their language also changes. They're very polished. Even if they want to say something, they will say it in a very nice way. But before, in villages, they say the language is unpolished. So Goswamiji has used that word over here. Bhagwan's speech is such, very polished and very apt for the occasion. Jayati Bachana Rachana Ati Nagar. And Bhagwan bestows sukham, bestows joy on his sevakas. Sevaka sukhada subhaga saba anga. And his form is so beautiful to meditate upon. Jaya Sarira Chabi Koti Ananga. And is abode of all beauty. How can I place you, Bhagwan? Parshuramji is telling Bhagwan Rama. Because I have only one mouth. And your qualities are such, your gunas are such, that even if, later he will say, Saraswati ji and Shesha Bhagwan they come, even they cannot praise all your qualities. And who are you? He says, you are the swan bird that roams around in the mind of Lord Shiva. Means in that Manas Sarovar, that lake of Manas Sarovar, means Bhagwan Shiva's mind, which is so calm and quiet. In that, Bhagwan is the swan bird. Very nice line it is. Jaya Mahesa Mana Manasa Hamsa. Mahesa Mana Manasa Hamsa. Bhagwan delights and sports in the mind of Lord Shiva. And now he is asking for forgiveness, Parshuramji, that I might have said so many things. Please forgive me. Now that my moha, my delusion has gone by your grace. Kahi Jaya 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 Raghukula Ketu. Praising Bhagwan, Parshuramji goes into the forest for more tapasya. Bhrugupati gaye banahi tapa hetu. Here it is said that Parshuramji was an avatara. And Bhagwan also was an avatara. But after this incident, after that bow went to Bhagwan, Parshuramji's avatara purpose was fulfilled. He became like an ordinary tapasvi and went to the forest for more tapasya. This type of avatara is called as Avesha avatara. Means Bhagwan takes Avesha in a particular person, a particular conditioning to accomplish some work. And after that work is accomplished, Bhagwan says, I can withdraw my Avesha from there. So that is the symbolic meaning of that bow going back to Bhagwan Rama from Parshuramji's hand. Okay. And then other kings who were there, they were unnecessarily getting more afraid now. In spite of knowing Bhagwan's Swabhava, in spite of knowing Bhagwan to be so compassionate, they feel if Parshuramji came and he got defeated, he could not win over Bhagwan and he went away, what to talk about us? They just remember what all things, they remembered what all things they had said to Bhagwan before Parshuramji came. So all of them quietly went away. And all the other celebrations, they start happening now. Okay, so until this point is Parshuramji Avatara Prasanga. But the main point we should hold on to, that all 6 enemies which are there, they should be overcome. Yudhishthira says a very nice line in Yudhishthir Maharaj says a very nice line in Mahabharata when they just come to Vanvasa, or they are made to go into Vanvasa, and one by one everybody comes and shows their anger at Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira doesn't get angry, but others get even more angry because of that. So we are getting angry, and how come you are not getting angry? And Bhima comes and says that also. You should show some anger. Yudhishthira says only one line. He says, what is difficult? Getting angry is difficult, or overcoming your anger is difficult? He says there is nothing great in getting angry. But if you are able to maturely quieten this mind and get over it, he says that is where true sadhana is. What we study in Vedanta Sara as Shamaha or Damaha, all those, they are sampattis. Sampatti means wealth. Just like we have external wealth, we have this internal wealth. So that prasanga, and this one also, our Parshuramji's prasanga, that is symbolic of controlling our anger. Okay. Then there are other celebrations. Drums are there, flowers get thrown, and all people of Mithila Nagari, they are rejoicing in this good news. Now they say, next is marriage only. Everything is done. So many obstacles came, everything was resolved. And whatever anxiety they had, born out of tamas, that anxiety is taken away. Harashe Puranara Nari Sabha, Miti Mohamaya Sula. Mohamaya means that. Not knowing Bhagwan's nature, they were unnecessarily getting so anxious about things. Now there is a lot of music and decoration, everybody is singing. Janak Maharaj is feeling that joy, just like somebody who has never seen wealth suddenly discovers lot of treasure. How that person would feel joy? Like that Janak Maharaj is feeling right now. Sita ji, how is she feeling? Just like that Chakora bird sees the moon for the first time. That Chakora bird, it is said, nourishes just through moon rays. Like that, Sita ji is feeling. Alaukika, which cannot be described in words. Now Janak Maharaj goes to Vishwamitra Rishi. He bows down and he says, "O Vishwamitra Rishi, Bhagwan Rama was able to break this bow only by your grace." That is his reverence for Vishwamitra Rishi. And now he says, please guide us what we should do next. Everything is done, bow has been broken. How should we go about it now? Vishwamitra Rishi says, although the main clause which was there for this marriage to happen, that has been fulfilled. Means marriage is as though done. But still, we should go by tradition. Okay? And he says, ask the right people. 286 doha. Tadapi jai tumha karahu abba jatha bamsa vyavaharu. Whatever is your tradition, whatever your lineage they have been following, according to that, it should be done. And in this tradition, in Vyavahara, there will be 4 well-wishers, O Janak Maharaj. Who are they? Bhuji Bipra, those who are Brahmanas, who are learned, they are the first one. Kula Bruddha, elders in the family. Guru, your Shatananji Maharaj, your Kula Guru is there. And Veda Vidita Acharu, those people who know Vedas and they know what is the right conduct according to Vedas. So take their guidance and go ahead and arrange all these things. Now Janak Maharaj, Vishwamitra Rishi also tells him, you have to send messengers to Ayodhya and call Dasharath Maharaj from there so that this wedding can happen with a lot of grand celebrations. So Dasharath Maharaj calls few messengers. They are also great messengers. Their prasanga will come after few dohas. Videharaj, Janak Maharaj's messengers they are. They are also Tattvajnanis. So he sends them to Mithila, to Ayodhya, the messengers. And now Janak Maharaj is so good in administration. He is a king, right? But he is a Raja Rishi. He knows Tattvajnanam also very well, and he knows how to manage his kingdom also very well. Now what he is doing here is, he is calling the right person and giving them the right job. Okay, first he calls all the key people in his kingdom. Bahuri Mahajana Sakala Bulaye, Ai Saban hi Sadara Siranaye. All of them had a lot of reverence for Janak Maharaj. He calls them and then he tells them, go ahead and decorate everything in this city. Decorate the markets. Hata Bata Mandira Surabhasa. Decorate all the markets, the roads. Mandira means homes. You see in that Chaupai, second Chaupai after 286, in Mithila Nagari and even in other places, for a home, Goswamiji uses the word Mandira. Means house should be kept like that it becomes Bhagwan's Mandira. Surabhasa means temples, that place where all Devi Devatas they live. And Nagaru, entire city, go ahead and decorate, do whatever decoration you want. Creative freedom he gives to them. You can decide whatever you have to do. Then he calls his own helpers, whoever was there in that entire palace and everything. And he says, Sitaji is going to get married now. We have to create a very exquisite mandapam. Something that nobody has seen before. Such kind of mandapam we have to create. And those people, they didn't know how to do it themselves. But they call all the artisans in that kingdom, those who are very skilled. So they call all of them and then they start preparing this mandapam. This portion is also very beautiful. If Goswamiji has described it, it is our job to think about why he has described it. He goes into details about what these artisans are making. So that he will describe now, but you see how they start their work. Just before 287th Doha, Bidihi Bandi Tina Keenha Arambha Birache Kanaka Kadalike Khamba. In these artisans who are there, before they start their work, they are praying to Bhagwan. Meaning they are doing Mangala Charanam and saying that Bhagwan, may our work end without any obstacles. And they are very utsahi, very enthusiastic about doing it. And they will do it with so much of perfection. With lot of love and putting their mind into what they are doing. This advice Bhagwan Krishna will give in Bhagavad Gita, where he says Karma Yoga doesn't mean that we somehow or the other do the work. Mukta Sangaha Samachara. At the same time, not having Sangha with the work, not getting attached to the work. So he says Mukta Sangha one should be, but also at the same time Samachara. Making sure that whatever skills we have used it to the best possible way. So that elaboration of that verse you will see in this Doha. Goswamiji is elaborating each and every aspect of what these artisans are doing right now. First of all, they create, in Mandapam, I have not seen these things. Here only I am getting all the information. This is Mandapam. They have these plantain trees. But in Janak Maharaj's Mandapam, there where Sita ji is going to get married, that plantain tree is made up of gold. Okay. Birache kanaka kadali ke khamba. So with gold, they are able to make those plantain trees, which are so real and which look so exquisite and beautiful. One thing to notice is, in this entire portion, only natural materials are used. Okay. Whatever is available in nature, same things they are using and showing their skill in that particular thing. And then there are different leaves and fruits which they are doing decoration with. All of them are made up of gems. So much of prosperity. So much so that even Brahmaji got confused. He must have seen at that plantain tree and said, this looks like just my plantain tree. I also created one in this creation, but the one that these artisans of Mithila have done, it looks very similar to what I have created. Rachana de ki bichitrati manu biranchi kara bhool. Even Brahmaji got surprised looking at the creation of these artisans. And then they made a bamboo, to decorate. But that bamboo was also made with gems. And they paid so much attention that in between, like the real bamboo stick has knots, right? So even their bamboo, which was made up of gems, even that had these knots, so that it just looked like any other real bamboo. And then there were creepers, which were also made up of gold, which held, like beetle leaf creepers they made, which held these bamboo sticks. If anybody wants any ideas, you can take from here, how to decorate. And, all the other things which were there, they were also studded with pearls and gold and everything. Then they did some creative work also, which you would not have seen anywhere else. Look at the third chaupai. Kiye bhrunga bahuranga bihanga gunjahi kunjahi pavana prasanga. Out of these stones, like gems and everything, they carved out bees and birds which were acoustically designed. Means if you keep it in wind, they will make sound of a bee. They will make sound of a bird. So that kind of design was there of these, bees and birds, different colors, lot of it they created. And then they carved the pillars with devatas, very beautiful carving, very detailed carving. And all the devatas were holding many auspicious things, as though they are ready to bless. And then even the floor they designed in such a way and then studded it with gems. There was mango leaves and everything made up of sapphire stones. All of that was designed in that. And then the silk thread was used, and golden fruits and flowers and everything, they were intertwined and it was decorated. Festoons were there. It looked as though Kamadeva has designed all of that. Okay. And then flag, banners, curtains, chamara. Chamara means that thing which they hold in hand for Bhagavan. One of the upachara while doing Shodash Upachara, that is this chamara. And then beautiful lamps were there. And Goswamiji says, that mandapam where Sita ji is going to get married, who can describe it? This is the second chaupai after 288. Jehi mandapa dulahini bai dehi so bara nai asi mati kabi kehi. Sita ji is the abode of all values, all virtues, and all prosperity. If she has to get married in some mandapam, who can describe that mandapam? And Bhagwan Rama, Dulahu Rama, Rupa Guna Sagara. He is the ocean of all gunas and rupa. So bitanu tihu loka ujakar. So that mandapam, which is created for Bhagwan Rama, it is so unique that nobody has seen it in the three worlds. And then how did Janakpuri look, the entire city of Mithila. It looked so beautiful that anybody who saw Mithila Nagari, they felt all these 14 worlds, even Swargaloka and everything, whatever is available there, that is nothing. Jehi Teruhuti Tehi Samaya Nihari. Teruhuti means the city of Mithila. That place where Lakshmi ji resides. Lakshmi Devi has taken avatar. That city is called as Terahuti. So Mithila Nagari, Janakpur, that is so beautifully decorated that 14 worlds, they appear as ordinary. And any ordinary person's home, that looked like a Devata's house. That was the decoration Janak Maharaj made. Goswamiji says, in that city which Lakshmi Devi resides in disguise, as any ordinary person, and Sitaji is avatar of Lakshmi Devi, who can describe that city? Even Saraswati ji and Shesha Bhagwan cannot describe it. Now comes that prasanga of the Dutas, the messengers who are going to Ayodhya. We gave them some time. They started from Mithila Nagari, they went to Ayodhya now. Now they are at the doorstep of Dashrath Maharaj. What do they say? We will chant after 289th. पहुँचे दूत रामपुर पावन, हर्षे नगर बिलो की सुहावन। भूप द्वार तिन खबरी जनाई, दशरथ नृप सुनि लिए बोलाई। करि प्रणाम तिन पाती दीन्ही, मुदित महीप आप उठि लीन्ही। बारी बिलोचन बाचत पाती, पुलक गात आई भरी छाती। राम लखन उर कर बर चीठी, रह गए कहतन खाटी मीठी। पुनि धरि धीर पत्रिका बाची, हर्षि सभा बात सुनि साची। खेलत रहे तहाँ सुधि पाई, आए भरतु सहित हित भाई। पूछत अति स्नेह सकुचाई, तात कहाँ ते पाती आई। कुशल प्राण प्रिय बंधु दो, अहि कहूँ के ही देश। सुनि स्नेह साने बचन, बाची बहुरी नरेश। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Both the Dutas, they reach Mithila, our Ayodhya. They are at the doorstep of Dashrath Maharaj. So they send a message that we have come from Mithila Nagari. Janak Maharaj has sent a letter for you. And they are so delighted looking at Ayodhya Nagari. One delight is our Sitaji is going to come here. She has got a very good father-in-law. And his city is also just like our Mithila Nagari, very prosperous. And then when Dashrath Maharaj hears about these Dutas have come, so he himself, first calls them inside, and then he takes that letter in his hand. He doesn't ask somebody else to get that letter from Dutas. He himself gets up and gets that letter. Mudita Mahipa Apu Utilinhi. Dashrath Maharaj himself came down and took that letter in his hand. Now, Goswamiji is painting how Dashrath Maharaj is reading that letter. You see his, power of poetry. Bari bilochana bachata pati pulaka gata ai bhari chhati. Dashrath Maharaj is holding that letter, but he is unable to read. Why? Because there are tears in his eyes. He has heard about Bhagwan and Lakshman ji after such a long time. We should remember that once they went away with Vishwamitra Rishi, there is no news about them. He has not heard about where they are, what they are doing right now. So after such a long time, he has heard about Bhagwan Rama and Lakshmanji. And now he is getting authentic news. Because it is said, when Dhanush Bhanga happened, that sound was so powerful, all Devatas heard it. So you think Ayodhya, people did not hear that sound? They all heard it, but now they are getting a confirmation that Bhagwan has broken that bow and now magic is going to take place. So one hand he is holding the letter, tears in his eyes, and his entire body is overpowered by this emotion of love. In his hand, there is the letter. In his heart, Bhagwan Rama and Lakshmanji. And he is unable to say what is or read the content of that letter. You see the third chaupai. Ramu Lakhanu Ura. In his heart is Bhagwan Rama and Lakshmanji. Karabara Chithi. In his hand, there is a letter. Rahi gaye kahata na khati meeti. He is unable to read and tell everybody what is that letter saying. Is it some good news or is it some not so good news? But then again, he composes himself and reads that letter again. And everybody is delighted by hearing the news in that letter that Bhagwan has broken the bow. Janak Maharaj is sending this invitation for everybody to come to Mithila Nagari. Now Bharatji was playing with Shatrugnaji. Bharatji is also not a small boy. He must be playing on a horse or training himself in some warfare. He comes with Shatrugnaji and he's asking Dashrath Maharaj, "Oh father, where has this letter come from?" And then others must have said, "This has come from Janak Maharaj, something to do with Bhagwan Rama." This Bhagwan Rama, I'm hearing about them after so long. Where are they now? How are they doing? So Bharatji is also overpowered by so much of love for Bhagwan Rama. Dashrath Maharaj is enjoying reading that letter again. Suni saneha sane bachana bachi bahuri naresa. So again he reads that letter to Bharatji. And both are so happy, Bharatji and Shatrugnaji, just listening to that Bhagwan is doing well. And everybody is happy seeing the love that Bharatji has towards Bhagwan. Amidst brothers, to see that love is so rare. In particular in Kali Yuga, but that was Treta Yuga. And if that love is seen, it gives so much of joy. So everybody is so happy looking at Bharatji's love for Bhagwan Rama. Now Dashrath Maharaj calls the Dutas near them. He says, "Please come here, sit next to me. This letter is not sufficient. I want to hear more." So now he is asking them, "Bhaya kahu kusala dou bare tumani ke nija nayana nihare." Second chaupai after 290. Bhaya means bhaya. It's Are bhaya. What are my two sons doing? Are they well? Both of them. Did you see them with your own eyes? These two Dutas, they smile. They say, "We just brought you the letter. We told you that we are from Janak Maharaj. And you are asking whether we have seen them with our eyes." And they don't say anything. They know that Dashrath Maharaj is in a different mood right now. Dashrath Maharaj introduces his sons to him. He just wants to make sure that they are talking about the same Rama and same Lakshmana. Syamala Gaura Dhare Dhanu Bhatha Bhaya Kisora Kausika Muni Satha. One is fair, one is dark, and both of them are young. Did you actually see them? If you have seen them, then can you describe their nature to us? Pahicha nahu tuma kahahu subhau prema bibasa puni puni kahrau. Dashrath Maharaj is just wanting to hear more about how both of his sons are doing. And he's asking them, tell me, how did Videharaj Janak recognize my two sons? Kahahu Videha Kavana Bidhi Jane, Suni Priya Bachana Duta Musukane. Now, listening to Dashrath Maharaj, both these Dutas smile. There is a pun on this line also, or there is a symbolic meaning in this line. What did Dashrath Maharaj say? We look at the chaupai before, 291. Kahahu Videha Kavana Bidhi Jane. How did Videha recognize Bhagwan Rama and Lakshman ji? Dutas say, only one who is Videha will recognize Bhagwan Rama and Lakshman ji. Videha means what? One who has risen above body identification. One whose mind is not in Vishaya, only that person can recognize Rama and Lakshmana, not a person who is extrovert. That is this symbolic meaning. That is why Duta Musukane. Both of them are wondering, if Videharaj cannot recognize, who else can recognize? And this was true, huh? First time when Janak Maharaj saw Bhagwan Rama and Lakshmana, you remember that prasanga, right? Where he said, if my mind is going towards them, they have to be Brahma. My mind doesn't go in anything other than Brahma. That much confidence I have on my mind. So these Dutas, they are going to speak now. Huh? First, they praise Dashrath Maharaj. They say, oh Dashrath Maharaj, there is nobody like you. That in your house, Bhagwan took avatar. He played in your courtyard, did all his leelas, and now he is doing leela in Mithila Nagari. There is nobody who is as great as you. I'm tempted to read the chaupai, but we won't be able to see the meaning. So let us see the meaning directly. Now they are giving a very Vedantic message. Huh? Simple looking chaupais, it has several layers of meanings. This is after 291. Poochana jogu na tanaya tumhare. O Dashrath Maharaj, your sons are not somebody who should be inquired. Your sons are not somebody who will get lost and you have to search for them. Why? Purusha Singha Tihu Pura Ujiare. They are so powerful that no harm can come to them. Under their strength only, this entire creation finds rest. They are not ordinary. They are Bhagwan. They are the Lord of this universe. But the symbolic meaning is, Bhagwan's true nature is Chaitanya Swarupa. He is of the nature of consciousness, which is ever recognized, it can never be lost. Brahma is ever recognized as Aham. One doesn't need to search. One doesn't need to find that Brahma somewhere. And it is Aja, it is unborn, and no modification can come in Brahma. That is why you don't have to worry about that Brahma also. Poochana jogu na tanaya tumhare, which is ever experienced as Aham. That Aham, you should not think it is lost somewhere and one has to go and find it. Okay, that is why he says, Poochana jogu na tanaya tumhare. Jinake jasa pratapa ke aage, sasi malina rabi sitala lage. Who are so powerful that even the moon, looks very ordinary. This moon is so beautiful otherwise, that moon looks ordinary. And the sun looks cold. Okay, Rabi Sitala lage. That much of brilliance they have. Tina kaha kahiya naata kimi chinhe, dekhiya Rabi ke deepakara leen hai. You are asking Bhagwan, you are asking Dashrath Maharaj, how did we recognize, with what indicators we recognized Bhagwan Rama and Lakshman ji? To recognize them, you don't need any other indicators. It is in their light alone, everything is recognized. If you are trying to recognize them, then it is like trying to recognize the sun by using a lamp. Okay? देखिए रवि की दीप कर लीन है. In the light of the sun alone, everything is known. You don't need another lamp to see the sun. Swabodhe nanya bodhecha bodha rupa to atmanaha. This consciousness is self-shining. You don't need anything else to know this consciousness. Okay, they are dutas of Janak Maharaj. Their words will have very deep meaning. And then he says a vyavaharik introduction. They had come there for Swayamvara of Sita ji. And then this bow was there as the condition. It has to be broken. So many kings came, nobody could move that bow. And only Bhagwan Rama went there and he broke that bow. It was not an ordinary bow. Dutas are telling Dashrath Maharaj. It was a bow where Banasura came, he just did pranams, did pradakshina and went away. Banasura was a very powerful Rakshasa. And our Ravana, who is known for so much of his strength, who is creating so much of havoc right now, he was so proud that he lifted Mount Kailasha once. Not by itself, along with Lord Shiva and Parvati ji on it. Parvati ji got so annoyed. She told to Lord Shiva, why do you allow your devotees to do things like this? Lord Shiva said, you wait. Bhagwan Vishnu will take avatara and teach him the lesson. Right now, let him do what he wants. And Ravana was very proud of it. Whenever somebody would ask him, he would say, I am that Ravana who lifted entire Mount Kailasha. And it is very likely that Lord Shiva's bow was there with him at that time. So probably he would have lifted entire thing. But these dutas are telling that Ravana could not move this bow even an inch. He just quietly walked away. Such bow your son broke. That is his strength. Under his strength only, everybody finds ashraya. This is the same Bhagwan whom we have recognized. Okay. And how did Bhagwan break it? He broke it just like an elephant would remove the stalk of a lotus. With so much of ease it can remove it. Like that, Lord Rama, he broke that bow. This was his strength. And then they give some history, what happened after that. Parshuramji came, he showed them big, big eyes. Suni sarosha bhrugunaya ko aaye, bahuta bhanti tina aankhi dekhaye. This is after 292. Parshuramji came and then he showed them big, big eyes. But finally what happened was, he realized their strength and he gave his bow to them. And then quietly went away to do his tapasya. That is the strength of your son, Bhagwan Rama. But we have not only seen Bhagwan Rama, we have seen the younger one also. He looks very quiet, very soft-spoken from outside, but he is very naughty. He was so much instigating Parshuramji, he just would not stop. But he is also very powerful. His strength is such that all kings get afraid just by his look. Just like lions, even the baby lion, if it roars, all elephants feel afraid. Like that, all kings started trembling. When you were younger one, he stood up and started talking. Now, this is a very beautiful chaupai. He says, Deva dekitava balaka dovu, abana aaki tara avatako. O Dashrath Maharaj, you said, have we seen your son? But we will tell you what is our condition now. After having seen your sons, nothing else is coming in front of our eyes. Deva dekhi tava balaka dovu abana aaki tara avata ko. Now this is one chaupai for mananam. There are several ways you can look at it. They say after recognizing Bhagwan's nature in his saguna form and in his nirguna form, mind doesn't seek ashraya in anything else, or mind doesn't get delight in anything else. All rasa which was there, all taste which was there for so many other things, they have gotten merged in Bhagwan. This was the chaupai we had seen in Bhagavad Gita also. Vishayaha vinivartante niraharasya dehina. The first step in our sadhana is to willingly keep those things away which we don't need to keep near us. All sense objects or whatever we are trying to remove. So Vishayaha vinivartante niraharasya dehina. So that is one part of sadhana. But the taste which is there for those Vishayas, they will remain. Not forever. Until when Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drushtva nivartate. That rasa which is there, it will go away when Bhagwan's true nature is understood. In devotional way, it will be said in that way, but when we appreciate Bhagwan as Atma Swarupa, as Ananda Swarupa, in that Ananda, no other Ananda seems to be appealing. And if somebody has recognized that this creation is not Bhutamaya, it is not made out of matter, it is made out of consciousness, it is an appearance in consciousness. Wherever you look, one will recognize Bhagwan only. One will recognize Chaitanya only. In that way also, nothing else comes in front of eyes except for that Chaitanya. It is just like you see a beautiful lion, which is carved out of marble. Why only a lion? Look at any statue which might be there in your house. Some wooden statue might be there. Once you have recognized the wood, no matter where you look, you cannot unsee the wood. Wood was ever there, but before our attention went there, we see only the name and form. But once attention is shifted onto the wood, wherever you see in that statue, you will see nothing but the wood. In the same way, if somebody has understood this entire creation, which includes all living beings, animals, mountains, rivers, everything you include, if you have understood all of that to be an appearance in Bhagavan, appearance in Chaitanya, even when we are looking at Nama Rupa, attention is always on the substratum. Drugdrishya Viveka, we saw this one. Yatra yatra mano yati, tatra tatra samadhaya. Dehabhimane kalite vijnate paramatmani. So this Dutas say that is what Bhagwan Rama has done to us. He has purified our mind and shown us that nature. Deva dekitava balakado abana akitara avatako. Now Dashrath Maharaj is so happy listening to the words of these Dutas. They are true messengers, given unbiased report of what all things happened there, and then also giving it in such a beautiful way. Sabha sameta rao anurage, dutana dena nichavara lage. Dashrath Maharaj is feeling so much of love towards these Dutas that he wants to give them gifts. So he calls everybody and says, give all these things to him. That is natural expression. Whenever there is love, there will be giving. So Dashrath Maharaj is feeling that love towards the Dutas. These Dutas, they are so, pakka, very skilled and very, very true to their dharma. Kahi aniti te muh dahi kana. Dashrath Maharaj must have just started telling that what all things he's going to give. They just close their ears. Muh dahi kana means close their ears. They don't even want to listen to this, that Dashrath Maharaj is going to give them something. They say it is against our dharma. We are messengers. Our job is only to convey the message. Not supposed to take gifts from you and go back with those gifts. If you want to give to Janak Maharaj, then it's okay, but not to us as messengers. Some Mahatmas say, we don't want to take any gift from our in-laws' house before marriage is done. That is also aniti, because we are just coming here to give you this message. And then everybody is so happy looking at Dutas of Janak Maharaj. They say Dutas are also so skilled, so thoughtful in their vyavahara. Now Dashrath Maharaj got up and he took that invitation or whatever letter they had brought, went and took it to Vasishtha Maharshi. This is their tradition. Whatever is going to happen, whatever auspicious thing is going to happen, Raja Rishi or the Raja who is there, he will always have a Kula Guru, one who will guide the king in what he should be doing. So he takes it and gives to Vasishtha Rishi and then narrates all the things that these messengers had told Janak Maharaj, what all things happened there. And he tells him the good news that my sons are going to get married. Now Dashrath Maharaj is given a compliment by Vasishtha Maharshi. This chaupai is very famous. Jimi sarita sagara mahu jahi jadyapi tahi kamana nahi. Timi sukha sampati binahi bulaye dharma sila pahi jahi subhaye. Vasishtha Rishi tells Dashrath Maharaj, we cannot keep dukkham, sorrow, away from our life forcefully. We cannot give or we cannot bring sukham, we cannot bring happiness in our life forcefully. All of this is play of our karmas. If we do sat karma, then happiness will come to our door knocking. Even if we don't want, it will come, open the door and enter the house. How? Just like oceans flow into the river, even without that ocean asking them to come. This is the analogy. Jimi sarita sagaru mahu jai. Just like all rivers gush into that ocean, jadyapi tahi kamana nahi. Even though there is no desire in this ocean that all rivers should come into me, timi sukha sampati binahi bulaye. In that same way, sukham, happiness, and prosperity. Sampati means prosperity, outer wealth, inner wealth, everything comes to that person. Dharma sila pahi jahi subhaye. One who is following dharma, living a dharmic life, whatever duties have been given to that person by Bhagavan, he does it with lot of shraddha, remembers Bhagavan while doing that dharma. Whenever there is somebody who is in need, goes out of the way to help them. Ved Vyasji says this is the best way to gather punya. We know the power of so many other things, right? Power of wealth, power of skills, power of resources. Vedanta says we should also know the power of punya. That punya karma, which can bring so many things unasked, one should keep gathering that punya. Okay. We'll reflect on this chaupai next time and continue from here. Okay. अगणित गुणगण भूषण राम, आश्रित वत्सल जय जय राम, अयोध्यवासी सीताराम, आपद बांधव जय जय राम, दशरथ नंदन श्री राम, दशमुख मर्दन जय जय राम, कौसल्या सुखवर्धन राम, कामित फलदा जय जय राम, पाप विमोचन श्री राम, पट्टाभिराम जय जय राम, जानकी वल्लभ सीताराम, जय रघुराम जय सीताराम, वानर सेवित श्री राम, वारिधि बंधन जय जय राम, हनुमत पूजित सीताराम, श्री राम जय राम, रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम, श्री राम जय राम, श्री राम जय जय राम, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।